Good morning, Zio here, and it's back to Wizards of the Coast, so grab yourself some coffee, sit back, relax, and let's get into it, shall we? But yeah, today we're talking Wizards of the Coast because on Thursday afternoon, I think, they dropped 1.0 or 1.2 draft, an actual draft. Oh, and this is my Rumble. I have one of those, by the way. So let's pop on over here. 1.2. They apparently dropped this a little bit earlier than they said they were going to, and it is still an issue, if you ask me. So, as I have said previously, F Wizards of the Coast. Yeah, and if you do anything that is associated with Dungeons and Dragons and stuff, make sure your stuff is no longer in compliance with 1.0 or anything else like that, and that it can't actually be tagged by any of these kinds of things. Just remove yourself from the D&D thing altogether, make it your own thing. They don't own tabletop, they just own D&D. So but yeah, I was going over it and stuff, and I was looking for other things real quick, and I found this is who is this again? They have their own tabletop, virtual tabletop thing. I can't remember what they're. Digital Foundry, jeez. Or Foundry, yeah, Digital Foundry. Anyway, wow, I can't remember their name. But anyway, they actually did this whole response thing, which is pretty good because a lot of the things that they're going to touch on this was stuff that I was going to say anyway, and I was going to write notes over here so I could do the whole note thing and make sure I hit every point I wanted to, but since this is here, I don't have to now, because they kind of hit on a lot of the same points as me, especially for the tabletop stuff. But Dungeons and Dragons, Wizards of the Coast, they're afraid, essentially. We've talked about this already, and we're talking about how D&D is way more profitable than it was for content creators beforehand, with things like Critical Role, Stranger Things, and other stuff, bringing it to the forefront and more into the normie space. More and more people have joined to start doing it, and a lot of people are doing it virtually. And we talked about how I'm pretty sure they just want to be able to stick their hands into those pockets, right? But the more time goes by and realizing other stuff and things, it's not just like they want people who could quite possibly rival Critical Role or something like that. No, they also want to hit the virtual tabletop scene, right? Because they don't own tabletop in general, but this license here that they want to do, they want to attempt to control the entire virtual tabletop area. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into this real quick. But this essentially is talking about the new draft, which is an actual draft apparently now, not what they were originally doing, which was not a draft, by the way, that they keep trying to say was, oh, it was just a draft, we weren't going to use this or any, yeah, whatever. Anyway, by using our licensed content, you agree to the terms of this license. This is a non-consensual agreement to the license. This is something that I vehemently hate. I vehemently dislike this kind of stuff. So if you use anything that is there that you have somehow agreed to their terms, now, without actually being given a thing to sign or whatnot, I'm not too sure how well that would hold up in court if they actually took you to court over something. I am not a lawyer, but I don't think that is something that is technically binding, right? You can't sit there and use a thing and go, oh, well, you technically, by using it, you have agreed to the terms, that sort of thing, and that needs to be removed. It really does. If you were not going to, and I know why they did this, because we talked about this beforehand. This is what I keep telling everybody to do: to remove themselves from D&D. Anything that would link them to Wizards of the Coast, get rid of it. Get it out of there. Make it your own thing. Make it tabletop. Make it generic. Whatever it is that you got to do to be not associated with them, so they can't say, well, that's D&D. You're using, no, we're not. You know, that there is because if they don't have you sign a thing, then they can't hold you to it. But with that, they could technically try and make the case, well, it sort of resembles 5.0 stuff and this, that, and the other, therefore it's more licensed than bullshit. Whatever. Anyway, it needs to go, right? Our license content. This license covers any content in the SRD 5.1 and any sequential versions of the SRD we release under the license. This is not a license to under the Creative Commons. You may use the content in your own works on the terms of this license. Of course, don't use it. It's simple as that. If a creator uses content from the SRD version 5.1, the current version of SRD, which has been available since May 2016, they implicitly agree to the terms of OGL 1.2 license. This means that simply by publishing content that was developed under 1.0A and SRD version 5.1, many creators will unknowingly accept the terms of 1.2 terms. This could be avoided. Explicit grace period for ongoing projects. It just needs to be gone. I mean, not even a grace period. Fuck them. Fuck their grace periods. It just needs to out. That whole thing there doesn't need to exist. I'm sorry. It needs to go. Anyway, so we move on to deauthorization here. Does not apply. OGL 1.2 preserves with a dubious attempt to deauthorize the prior 1.0. Any creator who agrees to it affirmatively gives up their rights to continue using the OGL 1.0A. This new licensing agreement that previously published content is unaffected, but attempts to cast doubt into the validity of continuous usage of 1.0A for the creation. Yeah. Anyway, point of this here. Duh. I'm sorry. I find this one just slightly asinine for a second. If there's a new version of the thing and you accept that thing, naturally you revoke everything from 1.0. 1.0 no longer exists. Now, anything that, of course, is under it, as long as it doesn't deauthorize that and that is still covered under 1.0A, you know, that's fine. I'm okay with that. But naturally, if you agree to 1.2, you've now given up all rights whatsoever to everything else and stuff. That's standard. I don't have a bone to pick with that. Irrevocable unless decided otherwise. The new OGL 1.2 does include the significant term irrevocable. However, Wizards of the Coast has provided themselves with several ways to cancel the license, either individually or in total. Survivability. The survivability clause 9.d provides Wizards of the Coast with the ability to declare the entire license void, nullifying it for all creators who have ever used it if any part of this license is to be unenforceable or invalid for any reason. Such a judgment would be easy for Wizards of the Coast to obtain if desired. There are several clauses in the document which could be deemed unenforceable. Termination. The termination clause 7.b.I allows for creators' license to be terminated unilaterally and immediately from any infringing intellectual properties without a period of notice, opportunity to cure such breach as required by the whatever. If creators were to accidentally use aspects of Wizards of the Coast material which belongs to the or unlicensed content category, the creator could have the right to the OGL immediately canceled with no opportunity to correct this mistake. Would Wizards of the Coast do this? If there were a creator they wish to eliminate, they may scour the content or creators' histories historical body of work looking for anything they can argue as infringement of intellectual property rights. To be clear, we neither support nor advocate for intellectual property right infringement. However, such rights are a complex topic and creators should be given notice. Yeah, of course. But yeah, that's like the thing that is one of the biggest fears, right? You know, there's no reason for 1.0a to disappear. There's no reason to change it to 1.2 at all. But, you know, these are major fears here. We've gone over this before, right? Class action waiver. This one's a big one. Okay? Now, I saw that and was like, yep, that's a no-go for me. Anyone who makes you sign anything that has a class action waiver, tell them to F off. Seriously. Then again, you can also abuse it. I'm not going to lie. Creators using OGL 1.2 waive rights to participate in class, collective, or joint actions. Wizards of the Coast may take legal action against creators individually without the possibility for peers in the industry who would be also be affected by such a ruling to participate or aid in the legal action. Every individual creator becomes responsible for maintaining that every clause in the OGL 1.2 is valid and enforceable in any legal action. Otherwise, Wizards of the Coast could declare the license void for all creators. Creators adopting the OGL are looking for a license which inspires confidence that the foundation for their personal and financial investment is secure and stable. Thus, clauses provide too much wiggle room for Wizards of the Coast to take away a creator's right if they deemed it necessary to do so. So, yeah, class action waivers, I hate them. Definitely, that needs to go. But essentially, it prevents anybody from helping somebody else who's, legally being sued by Wizards of the Coast for whatever reason, or illegally being sued by Wizards of the Coast for whatever reason and stuff. But yeah, I mean, defense funds, things like that, I think are still totally okay. You just can't band together in a class action, essentially. Right. Now, this is the big one. This is why Wizards is scared, okay? Because this is the virtual tabletop policies. And it there's more, a lot more here, and they hit on everything. But yeah, the virtual tabletop policy, what some people may not realize is Wizards of the Coast is in the middle of developing their own virtual tabletop. Okay, the thing is, they are a day late and a dollar short in the space because there are other tabletops out there. I wanted to bring this up, so I brought up a random video here. This is Cabo DM right down here. If you want to go take a look at this full video here, but essentially this is bringing Foundry virtual tabletop combat to life with animated spells and stuff. With the event of people using the internet for this sort of thing and stuff, of course, comes with other stuff as well, right? So, it includes things like casting animations, as you can see on screen there, and other stuff, bringing spells to life, the environment to life, swaying trees, burning fires, that sort of thing, casting shadows, and, which is not something you could get out of, just standard being at the table, right? Which is cool. Now, I'm not going to get too deep into this right now. Maybe we can go back to it later, but there was one part that I really, really wanted to hit on, right? Using VVTs to replicate the experience of sitting around the table playing D&D with your friends, so displaying static SRD content is just fine because it just looks like it's a source book. But you can put that text of magic missile up in your VTT and use it to calculate and apply damage to your target automatically. The automatic magic missile, blah, blah, blah. What isn't permitted are features that don't replicate your dining room table storytelling. If you replace your imagination with an animation of magic missile striking across the board to strike your target, or your VTT integrates our content into an NFT, Yeah, because they included that NFT in the original thing that they were going to push out, right? Which means they have to bring NFTs into this so they can continue to push that. Well, we were just trying to make sure nobody used it as an NFT. Nobody's using it as a fucking NFT. Get off your fucking horse, wizards. Nobody gives a damn. Anyway, that's not the tabletop experience. That's more like a video game. This here is the one thing I really, really wanted to rail on. We are going to rail on for the rest of this video. Okay. What constitutes as a video game? Well, a video game, of course. No, seriously, don't hurt yourself thinking about it for too long. But what they're essentially saying is if you animate something, as you know, that's why I wanted to bring this up real quick, which I think is a tutorial on how to do it. But so, you know, go ahead and take a look. I will try to link this video actually down below if you want to check it out yourself. But yeah, if you animate it, suddenly it's a video game. And I beg to differ. So what makes a video game and what makes tabletop tabletop? Because you can certainly say, well, when you're doing things like that, now it looks no different than your older video games with the old animation things and stuff like that, from like gosh, whatever that system, the CDI or whatever, I can't remember what it is, the Intellivision or something. Anyway, I can't remember, Philips CDI or something like that. You know, the old disc-based whatever with that really bad Zelda and Mario games and stuff. Anyway, point is, that's going to be their entire thing, right? It's animated, therefore it's more like a video game. However, I say it's not. You want to know the difference between tabletop and video game? It's this. In tabletop, your imagination is the limit. In a video game, you are highly restricted. Now, to put this in practice, let's take GTA for an example. You play GTA. You decide to jack a car, you take the car, you're going down, you're cruising down whatever street, you see an apartment building. You want to now go and break into an apartment in that apartment building because you've decided, you know what, I'm going to go steal some stuff. Or maybe I'm going to go and take somebody out, whatever. You get out, you go, you park, you get out of the car, you walk up to the building, and you can't go in. Yeah, why? Because there's no assets for you to go in. The developers never created an inside model or anything to that building. They didn't create every individual apartment, all this other stuff. You can't actually go in. You're now limited by the video game, right? It's highly restrictive. You can only play by the mechanics that are programmed into the game and into the environments that are programmed into the game. D&D and tabletop in general do not have that issue, okay? So, let's do it again. GTA, but tabletop edition. You get into the car. You're driving down. You jacked that car. You threw the old lady to the curb. You crushed her head and you went on. All right? Now, you saw that apartment building. You want to go in. You park the car. Hey, is there anyone standing outside the building, like a greeter or anything like that? No? Okay, I'm going to go and check the door to see if it's locked or anything. It's unlocked. I'm going to open the door. All right? You're standing in a lobby. It's sort of a hallway more than a lobby, but it's slightly larger than your standard, hallway. It's 10 by 20, something like that, random numbers. I'm not going to take the time to figure out an approximate anything, so forgive me. And at the end of the hallway, you've got stairs on your left. You got an elevator on your right. Okay, I'm going to go to the elevator. You go to the elevator. Hit the button. You're in the elevator. It's got 6 floors. All right, I'm going to floor 5. You hit the thing for floor 5. It goes up. Elevator music plays. All right. Now, of course, also the DM can be playing music during all this stuff too. I know I am a fan of bringing up music and sound effects and other things for my campaigns and stuff. So you're in tavern. I've got tavern stuff that will play in the background while they're in the tavern, stuff like that. And the dude's playing some elevator music. Gets to floor 5. Gets out. You're looking at a hallway, you've got doors on the left and the right. They're spaced about 25 feet apart from each other. Okay, well, I'm going to go down to, I guess, the third door on my left. I'm going to check and see if it's locked. It's locked. All right, I'm going to pick the lock. All right, roll. Rolled a 12. All right, cool. The DC check was 5, therefore he's going to get the door open now. You open the door. All right, you open the door. What's inside? And you start explaining things. See, that's the difference between tabletop and gaming. Tabletop can go places that the game cannot. And it's done really easily. And with the help of things like Digital Foundry and stuff like that, like the stuff right here, it makes it a lot easier to do that. You know, it gives you a visualization. It's more immersive. It gets you into it, especially for people who don't have the imagination to properly see these kinds of things as it's happening. This is really great for anyone who's very visual and stuff like that, which, you know, people like that are that way, which is funny because, you know, Wizards likes to talk about inclusivity and stuff. Well, also trying to wage war practically on virtual tabletop that isn't theirs due to the fact that they want money from it, right? Boundary VTT makes D&D immersive. Oh, yeah. Okay, look, I just happened to notice that, but yeah, I bet that's a good video to watch. Anyway, but yeah, that's what I'm trying to get in. What makes a video game versus tabletop? Tabletop has unlimited possibilities. A video game does not. It's not the animation that makes a game a game. There are games out there that can be mistaken for movies, for fuck's sake. Anyway, just get it out, Z. Anyway, for fuck's sake, there are games out there that seem to look like movies. Depending on the person, of course. Quick example of that, way back when I was playing one of the Assassin's Creed 2 or something, and I was in a particular portion or whatnot, and one of my parents had walked in, started watching, and then looked down and was like, wait, are you playing a video game? I was like, yeah, it's a game. Oh, I thought you were watching a movie. Anyway, point is, you know, if you want to sit there and try and justify that playing a VTT is more like playing a video game, you can also take that same logic and say, well, video games are just like watching TV or watching a movie. And it's not. There are clear differences there. And that really ticked me off. It was that particular language in there is trying to say that you can't animate jack shit because it's like a video game or something. Anyway, that's where we're going to end it here. I don't really have too much more to say on this at this moment. I might rail in a completely separate video on this particular topic itself. But yeah, it's 20 some minutes long as it is, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.